Okay. So welcome to the very last webinar for this webinar series. At this webinar, we're covering just year-end tasks. We're finished with meeting with our advisory council, and we're just looking at some of the things that need to happen right at the end of the year, and also how to submit your portfolio to the Indiana Department of Education for a review. So here's today's agenda. As always, we'll just very quickly go over the foundational beliefs in the process once again. We'll do a quick school-to-school sharing, and this time what I'm interested in hearing about is what about this whole process was beneficial for you. Some of you, I think, will point to working with your advisory council or the data, or just what about this, if you were talking to people that were considering doing redesigning school counseling or not, what was beneficial to you. So as we go through the foundational beliefs in the process, you might be thinking about that, what part of all of this was beneficial to you. Then number 3, we'll talk about main tasks, just some odds and ends to finish up at the end. And we'll talk about submitting your portfolio to DOE for the Gold Star review, but also if you're interested for the ASCA review. We'll talk about how to publish your portfolio online. This will give you the ability to link to your portfolio from your school's website so that your public can see your vision statement and your goals and your activities and all of that. We'll talk briefly about just a reminder to submit the professional growth point log. That's due by June 1st if you're interested in earning professional growth points from this experience. We'll also just very quickly touch on what's going to happen in the future over the next couple of years. The annual analysis, we'll look at that. And then right now I'd like to mention that while you're completing the process for this year and developing your original portfolio, to maintain the Gold Star designation and also the RAMP designation, you need to update your portfolio every 3 years. So one way to think about it is developing your portfolio, then you're off a year, and then you're on again a year to do the update. So the next time you will officially submit your portfolio to DOE will be in at the end of June in 2015, and then you'll receive the renewal award at the ISCA conference in November of 2015. During the off years, you do an analysis as well. We'd like you to get into the habit of doing an analysis every summer, but it's very, very minor. We'll show you how to go about doing that. Okay, so just really quick review, just a reminder of our beliefs that this whole process has been based upon. We believe that the purpose of school counseling is to prepare students for academic success at the next educational level, and that the way that school counseling impacts success is that when students have good guidance and counseling, we feel they tend to make better choices in areas that impact achievement, so that when we improve guidance and counseling, we're helping students make better choices, and then achievement goes up. So impact guidance and counseling, kids make better choices, that impacts achievement. Focus on all this has been on helping kids to make better choices. And so part of this whole process has been to identify the choices that you want kids to make, and then to design your guidance and counseling program around helping kids make those choices. So the goal of school counseling then is to focus on guidance and counseling. Again, we set the guidance and counseling goals first, and then that helps us to reach the student choice goals. And then when we reach the student choice goals, that in conjunction with everything else that's happening in the school impacts achievement. So again, the focus is on student choice goals. Okay, the process has been, the first thing you did was you put together an advisory council. It was a broad-based advisory council that had teachers and students and community people, counselors, a whole lots of different folks on your advisory council. You went through the process where the first thing you did was you met with the advisory council and you did an introduction. Then you painted a picture of what is the ideal that you're headed toward. The ideal you will probably never reach, but you know now what direction everybody is headed in terms of designing an ideal school counseling program and also having ideal kids, ideal teachers, and ideal data in your building. At the third meeting, you talked about achievement data and student choice data, and you created a list of priorities in both of those areas. You had a list of priorities for what you thought was most important to impact in terms of student achievement, and then another list of priorities for what was most important to impact for the choices that kids make. Then at meeting 4, you did the same thing. You came up with a priority list for what was the most important thing to impact in terms of student guidance needs and then also student counseling needs. So in leaving meeting 4, you ended up with 4 priority lists. One was for student achievement, one was for student choices, one was for guidance, and one was for counseling. At that point, your advisory council probably realized that there was way too much for the counselors to handle in the time and given the energy and resources that you have. So you looked at developing, expanding your resources. At this meeting, we presented the resources that you had to the advisory council, and we invited the advisory council to help you figure out how to get more resources. At that point, we knew how much time and energy you were bringing to the table, how many resources were going to be there, and we set your student goals. You did that at meeting 6, and then the very last meeting you had, actually this was last month, was to select activities, and now you're ready to prepare those activities and then implement the new program at the beginning of next school year. So that's processed very quickly. In terms of benefits, I'm really interested in hearing about this from you guys. I know you've been working at this process all year long. We know that it's time-consuming, but counselors usually say that it's time well spent. So I wonder if 3 or 4 of you would be willing to share for other counselors who haven't yet started this process, who may be considering it, what some of the benefits were to you that you found in your program. So someone start us out. And if you'd give us your name and your school, that would be great.
Hi, this is Chris Allred from Eastern High School.
Okay. And benefits?
I would say our benefits probably are just the ability to kind of analyze what we do throughout the year and collect that data. Just realizing, basically just analyzing and realizing what we do day to day and month to month. And then also I think meeting with the council for ideas and the relevance of our program, I think has helped tremendously.
So in terms of the relevance of your program, it's been an advocacy kind of thing for you because people are understanding what you do.
Exactly.
Good. Good. Someone else? Kirk at Floyd Central?
Yes.
And South Ripley, benefits for your programs?
Well, we've been through the renewal process, and I think it has raised an overall awareness to what really is done and how other people can get on board. So that's been a great benefit for us.
Okay, awareness, getting people on board. Good. Other ideas, Kirk?
I think it just shows us that what we're doing is important and not important, and how we can focus on the things that really impact students as opposed to just doing things because we've done them all along.
Yeah. I think that's really an important benefit. At least I found that too, that if you have limited time and limited resources and you can't do everything, I think this is a really good way, you said it very well, to figure out what's important and what's not important, and then really focus your time on where the kids really need you. Good. Good. So advocacy, helping people understand school counseling and what you do, looking at the data, focusing your program so that you're covering things that really are important for kids, and rather than just doing things because they've always been done. I think you've hit some really main benefits of going through this whole process. And, I think that for me too, it gave me a lot of pride in what I do, because I realized it helped me understand how much there was, and it helped me to get organized and be able to convey to other people in a way that was very concrete what this fuzzy thing of school counseling was all about. So good. So lots of benefits. I did have one question that came in when you registered. Got the question, is there an easy way to print the entire portfolio so we have a hard copy to review before submitting? The answer to that question right now is no, but I think it's a very good suggestion. So that's something that we'll try to get done in the next few weeks. Basically, what we'll end up with is just one PDF that is a bunch of pasted together pages. So it'll open up with your steering committee roster. Then the next page will be your vision statements and then your goals. So we'll try to get that up as quickly as we can. One of the things that may happen in the beginning is that the page breaks won't fall at good spots. That's very time-consuming to do that in terms of programming. But we'll just get that up there as quickly as we can, so you can click on one button and the whole thing will spit out all the reports one after another. So, okay, so a good suggestion. I appreciate that coming in. Any other questions before we get going with covering this month's tasks? Okay, let's jump in then. I'm going to go to, the website, and I've logged in as Eastern High School. I hope that's okay. Eastern has completed all 7 meetings with their advisory council, so I figure that they'd be a good school to demonstrate with. So when you log in, you, of course, are coming to a page that looks like this. And to get to the May tasks, we'll want to come down to the green tabs and click on RSC Webcasts. And we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, because we're at the very end, and we're looking at the May tasks. So you can see that none of the May tasks involve meeting with an advisory council. It's just kind of some odds and ends that we need you to do so that you'll be in line with all of the requirements for the Gold Star Award and the RAMP Award. So let's kind of look at each of these one at a time. The first one is to submit the assurances statement. And you'll notice that the verb here on all of these is upload. And over here in the enter column, you've got the uploader icon. So what this means is that you're going to start with a document that you have on your computer. You're going to turn it into a PDF, or a Word document would be fine, or Excel spreadsheet would be fine. And then after it's completed, you're going to save it on your computer, and then you're going to upload it. So just a reminder that when you hit this upload file, you get a little statement that looks like this, and then you browse through the files on your computer. You highlight the one you want, and then just click the upload button. When you do that, that will upload it to our system, and it will save it in our system. So for the rest of the time, you can then just click on report, and it'll be there. So let's just start out by looking at the assurances statement. In the tools column, you can we just gave you a shortcut so that you didn't have to go back to the manual. But if you just click on that, that will open. And you can see here that on the assurances page, that these are just statements that there was no way you could submit a document to indicate that you had met these indicators. So the first one is that the school counseling program meets all rules and regulations regarding school counseling found within the state code. So I would talk with your principal, who should be aware of state code, and just ask, are we in alignment with all the state code? And I'm sure he'll say yes. And then just you'll just sign off that the counseling director is signing off that you've done that, and then the principal's signature. All those practicing as school counselors are licensed as school counselors regardless of their title. The school counseling program is coordinated by a licensed school counselor. The school counselors adhere to the American School Counselor Association ethical standards. School counselors have a private office or space that promotes confidentiality. And then exhibitions found in the portfolio accurately represent the school counseling program and practices. So those are the sign-off statements. And so you would get initials, signatures in all those boxes, and then you'd sign off, the principal sign off, and dates, save it on your computer, and then upload it. Okay, so that's the assurances statement. The next one is the individual counseling management agreement. This is actually a requirement of ASCA for the ASCA award, but now DOE, Indiana DOE requires it as well. So let's just take a look at that one. So this is just it's a management agreement between the administration in the building and the school counselors. So this is starting out by an agreement about how counselors will be assigned, if they're by grade level or alpha or whatever. Average number of students assigned to one counselor, and then curriculum responsibilities. And notice that this is the school counseling curriculum. So which counselor or counselors are assigned to the following areas for the purpose of developing the guidance curriculum. So the academic curriculum that's covering the academic standards for guidance, and then the career curriculum, and then the citizenship. Remember, citizenship is a term that we use in Indiana, but that is the personal social curriculum. So you already have in your portfolio a list of all the indicators that the curriculum is covering, and then a list of activities that are addressing those indicators. So basically, they're just asking who developed that, who was responsible for developing that. So in this one, what percentage of time will the counselors collectively spend on the following tasks? Your advisory council came up with that. It's in the resources document. It's in the resources self-study. So I would suggest to your principal that you follow what the advisory council has recommended for you, or tweak it if you want to. When are school counselors expected to be available? Office hours. School counselors will be assisted by the following support staff. It's okay to say none if that's the case. And this one, compensation for work outside of contract hours. As you know, when you did your time task logs, that there is a lot of time outside of contract hours that you're working. And this is the purpose of this question, when ASCA put it on this document, was to just open a discussion about if counselors are working significant time after contract hours because they're meeting face-to-face with kids and parents and teachers during the day. And there's all that paperwork that sometimes takes up afternoons, after school, and evenings. They just want there to be a discussion about how are the counselors being compensated for that time. So a lot of counselors will say no compensation. In my practice, there was no compensation. That was just something that we lived with. But a lot of school counselors, their administrators are providing comp time, or in some cases, I've heard of a few counselors where there's extra duty pay, or actually in my practice, in some months, the principal allowed us to do flex time, so that when there was a lot of evening work, we could come in late and then work in the evening. So, at any rate, so just questions, and then F, funding annual budget. G, professional development. This opens up a discussion with your administrator about what professional development you will be involved in. And then also, school counseling department will meet. ASCA wants to make sure that if there's more than one counselor in the building, that there's time for you all to network with each other. So they want that to be a discussion with your principal. So that's it. So then after it's all worked out, you're putting in your signature and the principal's signature, and then upload. Okay, so that's the management agreement. The next one is the individual counselor calendars. These are your time task logs, and just a reminder, the rubric item for this says that you need to you need to submit one log per counselor per semester. So if you have 3 counselors in your building, you'd have a log from each counselor for a week in the fall semester, and then you'd have a log for each counselor for 1 week in the spring semester. Now, the biggest question we get on this is that the uploader is only going to allow you to upload 1 document, but you have to have 6 different logs if you have three counselors. So what we suggest you do is to just put those logs one after another into a Word document, just paste them in, and then you would be uploading a 6-page document. So just know that if you upload Mrs. Smith's log and then you try to upload Mrs. Green's log will override Mrs. Smith's log. You'll never see the first one. So all the pages have to go into one document. Okay, the next.
Did you say that was for ASCA have to have 1 per semester for each counselor, or for just the general one have to have 1 per counselor per semester?
DOE incorporates all of ASCA's standards into their standards for the Gold Star, so yes, it has to be in for the DOE Gold Star Award too.
Okay.
Also. So, and that's a good question. Let me clarify that in case I've confused people. So when you do the Indiana Gold Star, you are automatically doing the ramp. The Gold Star is actually a little bit more expansive than ramp, but all of ramp is included in Gold Star. So
I guess because I was confused because it's like when you print out the rubric, there's like places that are highlighted that says for the ASCA Ramp Award. So we are needing to, even if we're not going for the ASCA Ramp, we need to do all of those as well?
That is correct. Even if you're not going for ASCA Ramp, you need to do those, yes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, and the reason we did it that way, and I can see where that's maybe a little confusing, ASCA changed their standards a couple of years ago, and so when we made that change with the Gold Star, we just wanted to show why those changes were occurring. But yeah, I think that is a little confusing.
Okay.
So, but yes, you do have to meet them all. Okay, so the next one is the program brochure. My guess is that most of you already have a brochure, so just upload it and you're in good shape. What I don't have on here right now, but we will put on here, in this column there will be an icon that will take you to a page where there's some samples. ISCA, the Indiana School Counseling Association, has created a sample brochure for each grade level, and they've changed their website around a little bit, and I need to relink that. So we'll get that in there for you so you can have a template to start with if you don't have one already. Okay, public relations. On this one, you need to think about how have you helped the public, other than putting together your advisory council, how have you helped the public understand what school counseling is all about and what your program is all about. So maybe you've done a presentation for your school board, or maybe you've done a presentation about your program for your faculty, or maybe you've gone out to the Kiwanis Club or wherever or a newspaper article about your program. So just the question is, what have you done to help people understand your program? One of, just kind of a heads up that maybe doesn't show up here, but one of the things that when you do the ramp, there is one thing that they ask you to do that the Gold Star doesn't, and that is to have presented this program to your school board. So I would suggest that you either present the program in a print document that you've sent to your school board, and then upload a copy of whatever goes out as your public relations, or just do a presentation at a school board member about what you've been through with redesigning school counseling and how you've come up with this portfolio, and it's data-driven, and all of that. I think your school board will eat it up. But all you would need then is if you've got a school board agenda and it says, number 3, school counseling program presentation, just upload that agenda, and that would be proof that you have done public relations. So any questions about that one? Okay.
Is there any time limit on that, how long they had to be with the school board? We just did ours ours was about 3 to 5 minutes all we got.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, there's no, it's just that you did it or not. There's no quality standards with it.
Okay, because they don't give us much time.
I understand. You must have had to talk fast. So, okay, good. The next one is a job description. Again, my guess is that most of you have job descriptions already, but if you don't, we've written a sample job description that you could start with and then just tweak it to meet your needs, put your school's name at the top of it, and you're good to go. So, so then just upload that. Then on professional association, that one you need to show that at least one person in your department is a member of a professional association that deals with school counseling. So it could be ISCA, could be ASCA, could be NACAC, IACAC, it could be lots of different groups that address school counseling. And what you would upload is anything that would prove that you're a current member. So some people have uploaded their membership cards, a copy of their membership card. Some people have uploaded a copy of the receipt that shows that they paid membership dues. Some people have made a copy of the cover of a publication like the Ask the School Counselor that has the mailing label on the front of it, that has your name on it, and you can't get that magazine unless you're a member, so that proves membership. So not everybody has to belong, just one person has to belong to at least one professional association. Any questions there? Okay. And then professional development, that you could do all kinds of things. I know that the professional development that you all have participated in is this webcast series. So one thing that you could do is just any of the emails that came about the webcast series, you just make a copy of that email and upload it. That would be fine. Or if you've got an agenda from the ISCA conference, or just anything that shows that you have done some kind of professional development. But I know you all have done this webcast series, so you could use that very easily. Okay, so so those are the main tasks, just little odds and ends. Then, when you are all finished, one of the things that we want you to do, and this is very, very important, is before you submit your portfolio, please do a mock review on your own, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm still on the webcast page. I'm going to click on Portfolio Rubric, and that will open up. And this is the exact same rubric that the reviewers are going to use when they see your portfolio. So they're going to, they're going to look here and see, assurances page. Was it signed by the school counseling director? Was it signed by the principal? Check, check. Vision statement. Does the first paragraph contain the core convictions? Check. So, and you can see, someone asked this before, here are the ASCA standards that we added in to make sure that we were compliant both ways. So, yes, you do need to be responsible for those too. And then I would really suggest that you go through and just do a self-review before you submit. I know that for the reviewers, one of the most frustrating things is they get a portfolio that's like 3/4 complete, and it's just obvious that the person submitting it didn't either remember that there was a rubric, or for some reason didn't take the time to make sure that they had met everything. But so please do that. It saves everybody a lot of time, and it saves you a lot of time down the road because you won't have to redo things if they're done the way you want them to be done the first time. So please make sure you do that self-review. And then after you're sure everything is fine and you're ready to submit it, it's really easy. All you do is scroll way down to the bottom. The very last thing says, submit this online school counseling portfolio to the Indiana Department of Education as your application for the Indiana Gold Star School Counseling Award. So all you have to do is click that button, and that's it. Then it's submitted. So what happens in the system is that after that button is clicked, Amanda Cullen at DOE gets a heads up that you are ready for your portfolio to be reviewed. And in July, she will assign your portfolio to 2 reviewers. And the reviewers have an online version of that rubric that we just looked at. They will open up 2 screens on their computer side by side. One will have your portfolio in it. The other will have the rubric in it. And they'll just go through and they'll say, okay, assurance statement. They'll open up your assurance statement. They'll check off the 2 signatures are there. And then they'll say, okay, that part's okay. Then they'll go to the vision statement. They'll read that. Everything's okay. If there's something that's not okay, when the reviewer is doing the review, there's a text box. And they'll write in there what's not okay about what you submitted. And when we do the training with them, one of the things we really emphasize is that their comments should be very, very concrete. They should tell you exactly what you have to do. It'll save you time. It'll save Amanda Cullen time if you don't have to call Amanda and say, what does that mean? So we really want them to be very concrete with comments to you if there's anything that needs to be redone, resubmitted on your portfolio. So then after the reviewers are all finished, they'll click one of 2 buttons. At the bottom of their page, they'll click a button that says, this is fine, it's totally approved. As soon as they click that, you'll get an email from Amanda Cullen at DOE that says that your portfolio has been approved. It'll explain to you a little bit about how you'll receive your award at the ISCA conference in November. And then it will also give you instructions for a couple of tiny things you need to do if you want to be considered for the ASCA Ramp Award. And basically how that will work is if you want to do the ASCA Ramp Award, there's a couple of forms, and these will come in the email from Amanda. One is just a cover form that says that you want to be considered for the Ramp Award. And then the other one is it's a place where you submit the fee that you have to submit to ASCA for their handling of your award. It pays for your plaque, and it pays for your the luncheon, the awards luncheon at the ASCA conference, which is a big deal. It's a quite elaborate affair. I know a lot of the schools in the past from Indiana that have gone have taken their superintendents with them, their husbands. I mean, it's a big deal to get that national award, and it's quite an elaborate luncheon where they present those. So your fee helps to offset the costs of that. And then the other thing that you'll submit to ASCA, and this will be in the email from Amanda as well, is there's a statement from Amanda that says that your portfolio has been approved in Indiana. And with that statement, then ASCA will not do a read of your portfolio. It's automatically approved for ASCA. So, so you'll submit those 3 things to ASCA, and then you'll be all set for their award as well. I think that the ASCA deadline for submitting all that stuff is in October, so you've got plenty of time between your approval for Gold Star and when you have to get your stuff in for ASCA. Okay, so that's if you're approved. First, let me stop and ask, does anybody have any questions about what happens if your portfolio is approved? Okay, so if it is not approved, as soon as the evaluator clicks that button that says it's not approved, and automatically an email will come to you from Amanda, and it will say, so sorry, your portfolio was not approved, here's why. And then there'll be a link there. When you click on that link, it'll open up a page that has all of the comments that the reviewer made. And so that will, help you see, oh, you forgot to have the principal's signature there, or you left out something here, or whatever. And then what you'll do is you'll rework that in your portfolio, and then you'll just send Amanda an email that says, I've redone it, could you please review it? And at that point, Amanda herself is reviewing anything that has to be redone. I think Amanda gives you until the 1st of October to take care of anything that's problematic in your portfolio. And I can tell you, since we've been doing this, I can only think of just 2 or 3 times when portfolios were such train wrecks that they didn't get approved. And usually it's when a school didn't go through this whole process, and for some reason they still submit a portfolio. They probably should have waited a year, but they sent it in anyway. Most people, if it's not okay the first time, they just got 2 or 3 little minor things to address. And then they just do those and email Amanda that they've been done, and then everything's fine. So Amanda will work with you at that point. One thing I forgot to say is that there are 2 reviewers that review your portfolio, and if they don't agree, then Amanda is the 3rd reviewer, and then the 3 of them decide if an item meets criteria or does not. So, okay, questions about the review and submitting your portfolio? Deadline is June 30th, and then the reviewers are coming together on, I think, July 10th. Sometimes, too, the reviewers might call you right there on the spot and say, could you please fax this to me, or could you please fix it right now, and I'll re-review it immediately. So you might get a phone call when the reviewers are reviewing. Okay, no questions there? Okay. Then, next thing is to look at publishing your portfolio. I think this is a nifty little thing. We've not publicized this a lot. It's fairly new. But over here in the left tab, let me blow this up a little bit so you can see it a little better. The first purple tab says Publish Online. So I'm in Eastern High School right now. I'm going to hit Publish Online. And right now, Eastern's portfolio is not published. So you can see up here, online portfolio status not published. And if I'm happy with my portfolio and I want to publish it, all I have to do is click this button. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like when it becomes published. Let's say I publish it. I'm just going to go ahead and publish it right now. So right now, Eastern's portfolio is up there for everybody in the world to see. It's published. Let's say I changed my mind. Oops, didn't really want to do that. All I have to do is click Unpublish, and now it's down. Nobody can see it without a username and password. Okay? So to show you what they look like, we've given you a little link here that just says View Published Portfolios. And again, we haven't publicized this, so these schools just kind of found it on their own. This year we are publicizing this, and we really hope that you'll publish your portfolios. But I'm just going to go in, let's just look at Goshen Middle School. So what you would do if you wanted to put this on your school's website is you just take this URL, and whoever puts up your school's website, just have them put a little, words on their school counseling program, and then link it to that URL. And that'll take your viewers straight to this page where they could view your advisory council roster, your vision statement, your program goals, your priority goals, and your program activities, and your program calendar. I don't know how much they've completed in here, but yeah. So you can see, here's what they do. I just think this is the coolest thing to help with advocacy. People wonder why the counselors are busy. Look at all the things you're doing every month. So, good. Okay, so that's publishing your portfolio. Question? Okay, so that's how to publish. Wanted to mention those of you who are seeking professional growth points, if you're professionalizing renewing your teaching license or your school counseling license, the place to go, we went over this at the very opening meeting, but just a reminder that in the manual, if I scroll down to the steering team tab, which is, I missed it. Oh, I'm sorry, it's on the logistics tab. Here is the Indiana PGP log that you've been keeping all year. So let's open up that real quickly. All you need to do is just make sure the top of it is complete, and then submit it by June 1st to this address or this fax number, and then you'll be good to go. Okay. And the last thing, so let's jump ahead a year, and you've already received your Gold Star Award, and it's now, let's say, June 2013. What we would like to suggest is that you get into the habit of looking at new data every year, and every year deciding if you need to tweak your program. I think that would be a great annual meeting with your advisory council. A lot of people tell us that they'd like to have 2 or 3 advisory council meetings a year on the off years when they're not going through the whole thing. They'll have maybe a meeting in the fall to talk about what's coming up for the upcoming semester, and then they'll have one in December to talk about how did things go in first semester, and here's what's coming up for second semester. But the important one is the one to have at the end of the second semester where you're doing an annual analysis. So to do this, let's say it's a year from now, I'm going to click Annual Analysis. And at that point, you are an RSC 1 school right now because you're in the first year of the 3-year cycle. So next year, you would be an RSC 2 school. And then I'm just going to click Submit. And this tab then gives you a list of things to do, just like you have been doing, but you can see it's very short. So just next summer, we'd ask you to update your steering team roster, to update your program selections, which means are you applying for Gold Star this year? Next year your answer will be no. Then conduct a program data survey. So that would be the Learn More survey for most of you, the RSC survey if it's an elementary school. We suggest that you do the survey every year. And then the summer, you just do these things. You're going to update your advisory council roster, update on activity completion. I don't know if I can get to that right now with you guys, but let me see if I can. So activity completion, this is the end of next year. Yeah. So this for the end of next year at Eastern. Here's all the activities that they've entered in that they've said they're going to do next school year. All you do is you would just click the ones that you've done and watch what happens with the percentage down here. So it's your percentage of completion will go there, and then we're just asked, there's a text box where we just ask you, are you happy with the percentage of activities that you planned that you're actually able to carry off? 99% of the time you're going to say yes, but sometimes schools bite off more than they can chew, and so then it's a kind of a thinking through, did we try to tackle too much? Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to uncheck those since this is Eastern. Okay, so that's the activity completion. The resource utilization, click that. This is some data we're putting together to help us do advocacy with state agencies. We'd like to help state agencies understand how school counselors are using their materials. So did you use the Indiana Online Guidance Lesson Plans? I know this year most of you did as you're putting together your portfolios. Those are on our website. Did you use Learn More's mini magazine series? The name of which is going to change. That those that have been called the On Track magazines are going to that name's going to become Learn More magazine. Did you use Learn More website? Did you use Lumina Foundation's Know How to Go resources? Did you use Indiana Youth Institute's Drive Your Life website? Did you use DOE's and Learn More's Indiana graduation plan? And did you use our counseling website? And then the other part is we're asking you, how did you use it? Did you use it for program development, or did you just pass them out to the students without doing anything with it other than just handing it out? So there's that little bit of distribution that will help us to put together some state data. And then this one I won't be able to open that. I don't think I can open it now. Maybe I can. Let me check. Program goals analysis. No, I can't yet. So at the end of next year, I don't know if you remember when you entered your program goals, we asked you to identify 1 to 3 priority goals. At the end of next year, when you click on Enter, a page will come up that said, okay, for your first priority goal, here's what your baseline data is. Please enter your follow-up data. And then there's a series of questions that will help you analyze that data to decide if you need to tweak your school counseling program or not. So we only do it for those 1 to 3 program goals that you identified as priority. So you're not having to evaluate every goal every year. It's just 1 to 3 goals annually would be great. And then lesson analysis, that's something that is part of the renewal that we think is important, is just to look at least one of your guidance lessons, and again to just kind of think about how did that go. So you can pick whichever lesson you want to analyze and then just kind of go through this series of questions that will help you think about the strength of that lesson. And then finally, on updating your achievement data, if you entered that, if you put in school tables of your own, data tables of your own, it would just ask you to drop in new data, the updated data from the end of 2012-13 into that table. If you did not create any school-generated tables, if you just use the data we provided, you won't need to do anything there because it just gets updated annually. So that's it. So that's cycle 2, and then the year after that, I'm going to go back and change the cycle year to cycle 3. So this is now, we're in 2014, and you can see for cycle 3 is basically the same thing. There's a few more activities that we're asking you to do in the summer, but basically it's the same thing. And then when you're back to cycle 1, this is then when you would be renewing. And this shall go through, again, the entire school year. April, May, you'll collect data, summer activities, and then September activities, October, November, and then second semester. The nice thing for you guys, and you are the first group to have done this, is that everything is online this year. So a lot of this, it'll just be tweaking. So 3 years from now, instead of starting over with your vision statement, you'll take the vision statement you already have and you'll say to your advisory council, is this still okay? And if they say, yeah, it's great, we liked it 3 years ago, we like it now, then you're done. But if they say, 3 years ago we weren't thinking quite as lofty as we are now, let's change some of this wording, then you just tweak it and just edit it online. So everything stays online, and it's just a matter of you going in, to each little step and changing anything based on where you are 3 years from now. So, and then 3 years from then, you'll do it again. Okay, so that's it. Any questions before we close? Okay. Well, I tell you, it has been a pleasure. I mean, really an absolute pleasure this year working through the webinar series with you. Because of the success that we've had with this webinar series, we're going to add a webinar series for our renewal schools next year. We noticed that the schools that consistently attended the webinar series, the quality of your work we feel is greater than schools that haven't participated in the webinar series. And also we've had a lot fewer questions from you guys, I think, as you get your questions answered here. I think that's it. And again, feel free to call us if you have questions, and look forward to seeing your submissions by the end of June. And more than that, look forward to watching you all get your Gold Star Awards at the ISCA conference next November. So thanks so much, and as always, please give us a call if you have questions. Thank you.